What's up YouTube, this is Ryan from AnnihilatorMTG here, and I'm back again with some more Modern. This week we're going to be playing some blue-red Electrobalance. This deck is kind of strange. You'd think ever since the Simian Spirit Guide got banned, that this deck would be dead in the water, but quite the contrary. At least from what I've seen, there are quite a few players racking up 5-0 after 5-0 playing this deck, so I had to check it out. For those who are unaware, the core combo of this deck is actually very simple. We're leveraging cards like Electrodominance and As Foretold to play various suspend spells with no delay whatsoever. There are three main suspend cards used in this deck, those being Ancestral Vision, Crashing Footfalls, and Restore Balance. The first two are extremely straightforward. Things get a little bit weird when we involve Restore Balance. When you pair Restore Balance with a suspended Greater Gargadon, you can essentially wipe out every land or creature on your opponent's side of the board. The same goes for yourself, of course, but every single game we're going to be fully prepared for this to happen. Once again, balance really isn't all that symmetrical. Aside from the typical combo weirdness, this deck is actually pretty compelling as a tempo build. We have some really solid cheap counterspells in the form of Spell Pierce and Force of Negation, and to complement those excellent defensive spells, we have some solid offense in the form of Lightning Bolt and Brazen Borrower. Remember, we really don't have much interest in dragging this game out forever. We're here to do our combos and get in for damage whenever we can. All in all, this deck looks crazy efficient, and I'm super excited to try it out. So let's hop into the first match and see how it goes. Okay, looks like we found our opponent here. Best of luck to you, my friend, and this hand looks tremendous. I will say, though, I think I recognize this username, and this might be a mirror match. And to be brutally honest, I think our opponent has a massive advantage if that's the case. They lead things off with a Spirebluff into a Serum Visions. Well, that's not great. We find some Rhinos. We'll play a Fiery Islet, and then we'll pass. During their end step, we're going to cast a Bolt, see if we can fool them a bit. Then during our upkeep, they cast an Electrodominance and play the Rhinos. We find an Ancestral. Let's play our land, then we'll pass. They play a Scalding Tarn, which they crack immediately, finding themselves a mountain. Then they swing in for 8. Let's crack our fetch. We'll grab a basic. Then we'll cast our Electrodominance into a Restore Balance. And it resolves. Beautiful. They cast a Serum Visions. Then they suspend an Ancestral. Alright, not bad. We draw Serum Visions of our own. Let's cast it. We find a Gargadon. Think I want to put both of these cards on the bottom. Let's suspend our dude, and then we'll pass. They get to downtick their Ancestral. Then they play a Fiery Islet. We see a Pillage. That's different. I guess we just have to play the Force. Looks like they're passing. We draw another As Foretold. Super annoying. Guess we just have to pass. They cast an As Foretold of their own. Then they play an Ancestral. Next, we see an untapped Steam Vents, and they suspend a Gargadon. Alright, this is getting kinda ugly. We find a Foothills. Let's play and crack it. We'll grab another basic. Then we cast the As Foretold, and play the Rhinos. Alright, not bad. Not bad at all. Let's see what our opponent has in store for us. Looks like they're casting a Serum Visions. They've got 3 cards in hand. Then they cast a Restore Balance. They start sacking everything. We'll do the same. That takes our Gargadon down to 3, and theirs down to 5. Then the Restore Balance resolves. Looks like they discarded a Pillage. No problem. We draw Footfalls. Nice. Alright, let's cast it. Then I think we're just going to sack him to the Gargadon. We jam him. Then we swing in for 9. That takes him down to 3. Let's see what happens. They get to cast their Ancestral. Their Gargadon's currently at 4. We see a Scalding Tarn. They sack it to the Gargadon. And we see another Restore Balance. Brutal. Alright, give me a Lightning Bolt one time. Oh my god, you've got to be kidding me. Alright, I'm into it. Let's see what happens. We cast the bolt and win. I guess that works. So as helpful as these lightning bolts were, I think we're just going to cut them for disputes. And I don't really think we necessarily need anything else. Yeah, this looks fine. So this hand definitely interests me. The only thing that I'm concerned about is the double Gargadon. But honestly, having an early dispute is incredible. Yeah, I think we'll give it a shot. They start things off by suspending their Gargadon. We draw another Borrower. And I think we just hold up the dispute. They play and crack a Scalding Tarn, finding themselves an island. And then they cast a See the Truth. Sure, I think we can let that resolve. During their end step, we're going to cast an Opt. We see another one. We'll bottom that. And we find a Force. Nice. Super good. Let's play an untapped Steam Vents. Then we'll suspend our Gargadon. And I think we're just going to pass. They play and crack a Scalding Tarn, finding themselves a mountain. Then they cast a Serum Visions. We see another See the Truth. I don't really think we need to counter that, but maybe I'm wrong. We draw Mountain. Beautiful. Let's suspend the Gargadon. Then we'll cast a Serum Visions. We draw Restore Balance Balance, and then we see an As Foretold and another Balance. I think we're just going to put the Restore Balance on the bottom and the As Foretold on top. Looks good to me, and it seems like our opponent's stuck. Let's yield to the Gargadon triggers. So I don't think we actually cast the As Foretold here. I think we just play more of a control game because we're sort of in a better position to do that. Looks like our opponent's playing a Steam Vents, and then they pass. I think what we can do here is just cast the Brazen Borrower. We shouldn't be at much of a risk. Looks like they allow it. Nice. We draw Steam Vents. That'll work. Let's play that untapped. Then we'll swing in. That takes them down to 15, and we're good to go. And they find an Islet. So if they want to get aggressive, they totally can. They cast an As Foretold. I don't think we need to counter that. Then we see the Rhinos. I think we're supposed to force this. The force resolves, and they pass. Nice. We draw Serum Visions. Let's attack. That takes him down to 12. Then we'll cast the Visions. We find an As Foretold, and then double Rhinos. I think we're supposed to bottom both of those. During our end step, they crack the Fiery Islet. They've got 4 counters left on their Gargadon. I feel like we have decent control over this game. Our opponent seems to be knee-deep in the tank, and rightfully so. Looks like they're casting something. They float some mana, then we see a Restore Balance. Then they're starting to sack some lands. We're going to do the same. I think we'll sack the Borrower as well. Let's discard the As Foretold. Then they cast a Collected Conjuring. Let's respond to that with a Dispute. It fizzles. Then they remove the last counter off the Gargadon. So I think our opponent's making a fatal mistake here. What they should do is move to the begin combat step and then sack the last land. They're allowing us to have 2 mana, and they know that we're playing Brazen Borrowers, and it looks like that's good enough. GG's. Okay, looks like we found our opponent here. Best of luck to you, my friend, and this hand looks pretty darn good. We'll keep. Let's play the Gemstone Caverns, exiling the Wooded Foothills, and let's see what our opponent's got. They lead things off with a Windswept Heath, finding a forest, and they play an Arbor Elf, sure. We draw Serum Visions. Let's play it. We find a Gargadon, then we see a Serum Visions and an Electrobalance. Let's suspend our dude, and we'll pass. They play Arbor Elf number 2, and then we see a Stomping Ground. And they swing in for 1. That takes us down to 19, and they pass. We downtick the Gargadon, drawing a Fiery Islet. Let's cast the As Foretold, and let's see where this takes us. They're generating 4 mana, and we see a Chandra. They uptick, exiling a fetch land, and they pass. Let's stack the triggers. We find a Footfalls, brilliant. Let's cast it, and then I think we're just gonna pass. They play a Seasoned Pyromancer. They generate mana with a Chandra, and we see Seasoned Pyro number 2. We can work with this, I think. During their end step, we're gonna crack the Fiery Islet. We draw a Brazen Borrower. Let's cast some more Rhinos. We'll swing 2 at Chandra. They block accordingly. Let's cast an Electro Dominance on their Arbor Elf. Now their board is significantly smaller. They uptick the Chandra, hitting a land. Then they cast a Blood Moon. Don't think we really care about that. During their end step, we're going to cast Petty Theft on the Elf. We draw As Foretold number 2. Let's swing 2 at the Chandra and 1 at them. And it looks like our opponent scoops it up. Nice. So I think in this matchup, we're going to cut a Finale and 2 Spell Pierces in favor of the Cleansing Wildfires. And honestly, even without sideboarding, I really think we have a good chance here. This hand is a bit risky, but I kind of like the double Ancestral. Yeah, we'll keep. They go down to 5. They get things started with a Windswept Heath into a forest, and then we see a Utopia Sprawl. It's not bad. Let's cast the Serum Visions. We draw a Crashing Footfalls, then we find another one and a Lightning Bolt. I think we're going to bottom both of those. Yeah, that should be fine. They play and crack a Wooded Foothills, finding themselves a basic. They cast Utopia Sprawl number 2, and then they play a Soul Guide Lantern. Alright, that's kind of underwhelming. Let's play the Steam Vents, then we're going to cast the Wildfire. We draw another Serum Visions. Then they cast a Scavenging Ooze. Okay. We draw a Brazen Borrower. Let's play our 3rd land, then we're going to play the 2nd Cleansing Wildfire on the remaining forest. And then I think we're just going to finish this off with the Serum Visions. They respond with a Lightning Bolt, that's different. We draw an Islet, then we see a land and a Wildfire. Let's put both of those on the bottom, and we'll pass. Looks like our opponent's swinging in for 2. Then they cast an Elf, and they pass. We draw an As Foretold, beautiful. Let's cast it, then we'll play the Rhinos, and I think we're just going to pass. I'm not entirely sure what they have that could get them out of this. Our opponent plays a Stomp targeting our face. Let's force it, and I don't mean to count my chickens, but I think we're good here. We get to uptick the As Foretold, then we draw an Opt. Let's cast an Ancestral. We find more stuff. Let's play an island, then we're going to crack the islet. We find even more lands. Let's just attack with the rhinos, and then we'll pass. So if our opponent plays any high CMC threat, we could just bounce it with the Petty Theft, so I really think they're kind of locked. They crack the Lantern, then we see an untapped Stomping Ground, alright, and they cast a Seasoned Pyro. Let's bounce the Ooze, and we should be good to go. And we find a Lightning Bolt, excellent. Let's hit the Pyro, then we'll swing in for 8, and it looks like that'll do it, GG's. Okay, looks like we found our opponent here. Best of luck to you, my friend. And this hand seems pretty good. We'll keep it. They lead things off with an Inspiring Vantage into a Soulscar Mage. We find an Electro Dominance. Let's play a basic island, and then we're going to cast the Serum Visions. We draw Crashing Footfalls, and then we see a Bolt and an As Foretold. Think we're going to bottom both of those, and we'll pass. We see Inspiring Vantage number 2 and Soulscar Mage number 2. They swing in for 1. That takes us down to 19. And we draw Steam Vents. Phenomenal. Let's play that tapped, and then we're just going to hold up the Spell Pierce. We see a Mishra's Bauble, and then a Sunbait Canyon. They crack the Bauble, then they swing in with a team, casting a Mutagenic Growth. That brings us down to 11. We draw a Fiery Islet. Let's play an untapped Stomping Ground, and then we'll pass. During their draw step, we're going to cast the Electro Dominance, and then play Restore Balance. They lose their creatures. I think we're going to keep the As Foretold, the Spell Pierce, and the Footfalls. They play a Swift Spear into a Luminancer. Then they swing in for 1. We draw land. We'll cast the As Foretold. Then we'll play the Footfalls, and we'll pass. They play a Wooded Foothills, and then they crack the Sunbait Canyon. We see a Swift Spear. They choose not to attack. Let's uptick the As Foretold. Then we're going to crack the Islet. We find a Greater Gargadon. Let's play a tap Steam Vents, then we're going to suspend the Gargadon. During our end step, they crack the Wooded Foothills, finding themselves a Sacred Foundry. They swing in with a team. Let's block 1 Swift Spear and 1 Luminancer. They cast a Lightning Bolt targeting us. Then they play a second one. We'll hit it with a Spell Pierce. Let's sack a Rhino to the Gargadon. They take us down to 2. Alright, let's see what we draw. We find an Opt. Let's cast it. There's an Ancestral. That's probably worth it. Let's cast it with the As Foretold. Then we find another As Foretold. Alright, we'll swing in. Then we cast an As Foretold. We'll play the Restore Balance. Then we'll start sacking things to the Gargadon, and that's a pretty clean board. Looks like they're hard passing. We draw Spirebluff, let's play it. Looks like they're stuck once again. During their end step, we're going to sack the land to the Gargadon. We cast the Gargadon, then we draw an Ancestral, let's cast it, and they scoop it up, nice. So this is definitely a weird matchup. There's a ton of things that I just kind of want. I think like 1 copy of Leyline might be good, a Cage or 2 would be excellent, and the Sudden Shocks seem awesome. Maybe we cut a Gargadon, perhaps a couple of Spell Pierces, maybe a Finale, and like 1 Brazen Borrower. Yeah, why not? We'll try it. And this hand looks supremely excellent. They lead things off with an Inspiring Vantage into a Soulscar Mage. That's pretty manageable. Let's play an untapped Steam Vents, then we're going to cast a Lightning Bolt. And honestly, as crazy as it sounds, that's probably going to slow him down enough. We see another Inspiring Vantage into a Soulscar Mage and a Swift Spear. They swing in. That takes us down to 17. We draw another Electro Dominance. Let's crack the fetch for a basic. Then I think we're just going to wait for the draw step. Then we cast the Dominance, play the Restore Balance, and they lose their board. We see a Sunbait Canyon, then they add the Lurrus into hand, no problem. We draw Tolaria West, we'll play it. They play and crack a Wooded Foothills, finding themselves a basic. I think we're finally going to see the Lurrus. Then they cast the Soulscar Mage. Let's play a Sudden Shock on the Lurrus. Beautiful. We also draw a land. I think we're just going to crack the fetch and find a Stomping Ground. Then I want to play Electro Dominance for 2. Their Soulscar Mage dies, and we get some Rhinos. They play a Leonin Light Scribe. Then they pass. We draw a Restore Balance. It's not terrible. Let's swing in with the dudes. That takes them down to 9. And then during the end step, they crack the Sunbait Canyon. Alright, I feel like we're in a good position here. They play a Soulscar Mage. Then they swing in for 2. They cast a Lava Dart at me. Then we see a Lightning Bolt and a Mutagenic Growth. Then they flash back the Lava Dart. The Light Scribe is currently an 8/8. Let's cast Petty Theft on their attacker. And all that pretty much went to waste. We see a second batch of Rhinos. Let's swing in. They cast a Mutagenic Growth. That takes them down to 1, and we lose a Rhino. Alright, it's the moment of truth. They swing in. Then we see a light up the stage. They find a Wooded Foothills and a Lava Dart. Brutal. They play the fetch. They crack it on themselves, and they go to 0. GG's. Alrighty, looks like we found our opponent here. Best of luck to you, my friend, and this hand looks awesome. They start things off with a Spirebluff into a Soulscar Mage. Ooh, and then we draw a Gargadon. Alright, not bad. We'll play a Spirebluff of our own, and then we're going to cast the Bolt targeting the Mage. So far, so good. We see a basic Mountain into a Swift Spear, and then they cast a Lava Dart. That collectively is going to take us down to 17. We draw a Wooded Foothills. The cat's out of the bag. Let's suspend the Gargadon. They cast an Opt. Then we see another basic Mountain. They cast a second Lava Dart. Looks like they're swinging in for 3, and we should be good to go. We draw another Fetch. Let's play and crack the Foothills, grabbing a basic. Then we'll play the As Foretold, and cast a Restore Balance. And they just scoop it up. Crazy. Well, that was certainly interesting. I think in this matchup, we might bring in 1 or 2 ley lines. Think we can cut a Gargadon and a Finale. Then I wouldn't mind trading the Spell Pierces for Sudden Shocks, and maybe 1 Brazen Borrower for like a Grafdigger's Cage or something. Perhaps we can even ship the second Borrower for the Cage. Yeah, this looks pretty good. And this hand looks insane. Nice. They get things rolling with a Fiery Islet, then we see a Swift Spear, they swing in, that takes us down to 19, and we draw Footfalls, nice. Let's play an Islet of our own, then we're going to cast a Bolt, and it dies, beautiful. Let's see what you got, opponent. And it looks like they're stuck on 1 land, brutal. Well, this might be a bit quicker than I expected. Let's play our Fetch, and we'll pass. They cast a Lava Dart, sure. Let's see if they found a land. They did. We see an untapped Steam Vents. Let's see where this goes. They cast a Lightning Bolt, that takes us down to 14, and we see a light up the stage, as expected. There's a Swift Spear and a Manamorphose, not bad. Let's crack our Fetch, we'll grab a basic, then we'll cast the Electro Dominance, we jam the Rhinos, and we find a Cage, holy cow. Let's cast it, we'll suspend the Gargadon, then we'll swing in for 8, that takes him down to 7, and I am not entirely sure how they're going to get out of this one. They lead off with a Manamorphose, making a blue and a red, then they cast a Stormwing Entity, we see an untapped Steam Vents, and then they play the Swift Spear. Alrighty, I think we can beat that. We see another Electro Dominance, let's swing in with the Rhinos, and they scoop it up, GG's. And there we have it. Blue-red Electrobalance is actually pretty awesome. It's almost crazy to think that this deck feels this good, but without the Simian Spirit Guides. I can't even begin to imagine how strong it was when those were still in the format. I want to apologize to my subscribers if you felt as if this week's video was a bit too short. As I mentioned last week, I've had almost no time to record, edit, or even breathe, so this was the best I could do on short notice. Your patience and understanding is greatly appreciated. If you like my content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. This stuff really does help. And as always, stay safe out there and have a good one.